Hey, I had a few requests from people who were wanting me to show you how to look for this Revelation 12, 3 through 5 celestial dragon for yourselves. And I thought that would be a really good idea for me to show that. And sorry I haven't shown it to you earlier. I just thought it would be time now to show it to you since, there were quite a few people asking me to do it. So I'm going to try to make a video here and show you what I see. And of course, the best thing would be like if I could just get everybody together and kind of like a class and be looking up at the sky whenever this is actually happening, when the dragon is going by, and show you what to look for in person. But I guess the video would be the next best thing to do. So I want to show you first a couple of the best, clearest videos I've ever captured of the dragon. And it wasn't even the dragon, I don't think. I think it was like one of the moons. Like, I believe the celestial dragon has 7 moons. And they're huge moons. Like, some of them may be almost as big as the Earth or even bigger than the Earth. But anyway, there were a couple different days when I just had my camera running and my camera captured a couple of moons. And I know they were different moons too because of the way they were rotating. And I just wanted to share those with you first. I've already shown them to you before, but I didn't talk with them to kind of explain what I'm seeing. So this was back on July the 18th of 2018. This camera is always running right here. This is my home security camera. It's pointed up at the sky towards kind of east, southeast, and it's always running. And it has a little bit of infrared detection in it so that, because it's security, so it can see at nighttime too. So that actually, that was a godsend for me to actually have that camera system on my house. I turned one of them, up towards the sky because that little bit of infrared detection in there really does help me to see some things that I probably wouldn't see with just like an iPhone camera or something like that. So this is the sun simulator right here. The real sun is way back in the background, 93 million miles away. This is the sun simulator. I don't know how far they have it, maybe 10,000 miles away or something like that. I don't know exactly how many miles away they have it. But anyway, this is just a light, kind of like a lens flare light off of the sun simulator onto my camera. But something real weird I've noticed about this particular camera is that whenever the sun simulator squeezes the light over next to this edge of the video, that's when I capture some of my best images of what's up there. And I don't understand the physics of what's going on there. Maybe it's squeezing the light in such a way that it allows me to see through the cloaking. But this right here is probably my favorite, clearest image that I have ever gotten of one of the celestial dragon objects. And I think it's a moon. But anyway, it's going to rotate downwards. The end of the moon is about right here. I can see it. You might not be able to see it. I don't know how blurred YouTube will make the video, but right here's the edge of the moon, and these are craters. All these are craters. These dark spots are craters, and this is the surface of the moon. And you can see how the sun simulator is lighting up this moon, and it'll actually, like, for example, it'll light up. It'll make this part over here white. Whenever when the simulator light hits it just at the right angle, like it'll make this white, and this over here will still be shaded. And it's just, everything lines up with this is actually in the sky. And this is not me making this up. I would never do that anyway. But this is unedited, except for I lowered the brightness a little bit just so you could see it a little bit better because this is so bright. So take a look at this thing. Look at it rotating down. Look at all those craters. And right there is what I'm talking about. You see how the sun simulator is lighting that up right there, but this side up here of the crater is still dark. And it's the same way with every one of these. And then there is a huge crater right there. So that's being lit up on the bottom side of it. Top side's still dark. And that, would be the angle that the simulator light is hitting it. And that's correct physically. Now, those are actual clouds on this moon. It has like a little bit of an atmosphere because if I go back and show you, look, the only clouds in the sky on this day is these little bitty clouds back here. That's in our atmosphere right there. But look, there's no clouds in the sky. And once I go over here, there's no clouds. This is a clear day. The only clouds in our atmosphere is down here. There's no clouds up here in our atmosphere. So whenever those craters rotate down, then here comes a little cloud right there, right above that crater on that. And watch it. Just keep watching it. It will go. See how it's continuing to rotate with it, and it will go off the screen. Did you see that? And here comes some more craters and clouds. But anyway, that is probably the best. That's the clearest you're ever going to see one of these celestial objects, is that right there. That's the best proof I can give you. That is the clearest you're going to see it. That was 2018 of July. This is October of 2017. I showed this on one of my videos. This is a moon right here. There's a moon right here that is eclipsing our sun because the sky should be like light blue here, but it's dark. And I barely brought the brightness down a little bit so you could see look at all these craters. I mean, this thing is just full of craters. And this is the sun simulator. This is just a reflection off of my window. This is just some lens flare of the camera. That's the lens, all this stuff that you can see. Obviously this is my window. Because I wasn't sitting there filming it, I just had it running all day. The camera was running all day because this is the object, and I think it's a moon, that David Meade said was going to eclipse the sun. So I just had a camera running, and sure enough, this went by. And if you see what I'm doing up here, this is 20 minutes, and I've got an hour here of footage to show you as the simulator goes across the face of this planet. Or orb or moon or whatever it is. But just look at all those craters. The simulator is lighting up as it moves along. And I'm moving it back and forth, obviously. And like, look, there's a crater right there. 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 Crater right there, they're all over this. And I personally believe that whatever this thing is right here, it's obviously a projection onto the camera. It's being projected behind the window. So I don't really know what that is. I believe it could be a projection of something in the sky, like an edge of a cloaking, and like that could be cloaking equipment. I'm not 100% sure what that is, but that would just be my guess on that. But I know, like this stuff here, that's all just lens flares off of the camera. But anyway, there's a second moon. And see, that one's not rotating vertically like that other one was. This one's like hardly rotating at all. And I just showed you, like, here's an hour of footage of this moon. Okay, here is August 28th, 2019. There is going to be a huge moon, or possibly the dragon. I'm not sure what this is. This isn't as clear of a look at it. But what happens here is this is the sun simulator, and you're going to see the artificial light of the sun simulator get reflected off of an orb right here. And it's going to be really big right here in the sky. And I'm going really fast, and you see how it's starting to light up there? So you see it, see this line going down through here and this line going down through here. That has only shown up on my camera probably 3 or 4 times in the history of me watching this over the past 5 years. That some type of this big old red area is an orb there. And this is the sun simulator, and this yellow area right here is the light of the sun simulator hitting that red orb and casting a yellow reflection off of it, and then it shoots these two artificial beams of reflection off of it. I've only seen this, like I said, 3 or 4 times in 5 years of something getting so close that it does that. And then look at the clouds. See how, like, the redness and stuff doesn't go in front of the clouds. If this was just a lens flare that the camera was making up, all that redness and everything would be in front of the clouds too. Here is in infrared. This is like an orb with a couple of craters on it. And let's see, this was March 26th of 2020. There's not a cloud in the sky. And look at how this half is like all white and fuzzy by the simulator. And by the way, this is totally unedited. This one right here, I'm not even lowering the brightness or anything in this one so you can see it better. This is totally how it showed up on the camera. And what's going on here is the sun simulator is hitting like all the chemical trail goop in the sky and just making it real white and hazy over here. But over here, some object is kind of casting a darkness over here in infrared. And I used to see this a lot during certain times of the year, and I don't see this anymore. So I think whatever these objects are have moved closer to where it's not having this effect on my camera anymore. This is my home security camera. And so anyway, this is like blacking out the screen in infrared and casting some red hue here. But there's a couple of little craters right here I wanted to show you that's showing up on whatever this orb thing is. See the crater right there? All right, I'm going to kind of go through this. Okay, so here's what the dragon looked like to the ancient people who saw it, like the Egyptians and the Mayans and the Chinese. And I mean, this is, like their sculptures and their drawings and stuff like that. This is how they saw it. It's this big old, this is the dragon part that I was talking about. It's just rock and debris and stuff, but it looks like a dragon. And then there's always this little orb with it that's got like fiery wings coming off of it. See that? Fiery wings coming off of it here. It's got some fiery, it's hard to see unless you zoomed in on that picture, but it's got some fiery debris coming off of that too. But it's always this big old dragon like looking at that orb. That is how they saw it whenever it was uncloaked, like hundreds and thousands of years ago. Not hundreds of thousands of years ago, hundreds or thousands of years ago. This is how they saw it, and this is how they sculpted it, and this is how they drew it to let future generations know what it looked like and everything. And here's another one of it. There's the fiery orb of the dragon with fire coming off of it, and there's the dragon. There's another one. And the Hopi Native Americans used to say that it would look kind of bluish as it was coming in towards the earth, and then as it was going away from the earth, it would look reddish. There's another one. There's your dragon. There's your fiery orb. And then there's what the Egyptians, there's the orb and there's the wings going off of it. Now, as far as what I've seen, This was like a couple years ago. This is the best image that I have ever captured personally of where I looked up in the sky and I was like, oh my goodness, there's the big head of the dragon. Now, obviously, this is chemical trails. And see that color around the sun simulator? That gives it away that this is all chemical trails because natural clouds don't cast those spectrum colors. And sometimes it's worse than others. But anyway, they are covering the head of the dragon right here. And I don't know if they're like, I don't know if they cover it and then because of the close proximity of the head of it, it makes their covering go into the shape of it, or if they just simply cover it into the shape of it. I'm not sure. But I know for sure that dragon head was there that day. This is just a lens flare. Pay no attention to that little blue dot. But this, like there's a nostril. This is the snout. Here's an eye. Goes back. Like here's like the horns on it. Here's the other eye. There's the other nostril coming down. So there's the head of the dragon. That's my picture. I took that picture. Somebody else took a picture of it too. This is a totally different day in maybe like Florida or somewhere. I mean, this is somewhere else. And there it is again. There's the eye. There's the horns coming up. There's the nostril down here. There's the nose and the snout. So there's the head of the dragon. And it's covered with clouds. Now, the orb part, I had mentioned that the Vatican had a model of it in their courtyard, and here it is. You know, this is their courtyard, and so there's the big, huge crater on the front of it, and it's got gashes running down through it. And who copies that? Xbox, Star Wars, you know. So whenever you see stuff like that, you know, they're copying that. And here's a picture that my car security camera picked up one day when I was driving down the road, and right here is the dragon. Now that I couldn't see that in the sky. It may have not have been exactly right there in the sky. This is a projection of my vehicle security camera. I had it pointed up at the sky while I was driving, and it picked this huge, enormous thing up with this huge gash in it. You see that big gash right there? So that's one of the gashes of the dragon that I just showed you back here. But anyway, as I was driving, this this thing, I've got it on video somewhere if I can find it, but this thing was just kind of wobbling, you know, because of the way I was moving and everything in the car. But it held its form, you know. It wasn't a lens flare. It was a projection of what was up there. Occasionally, I used to every now and then catch the dragon going by, and I would get the gashes, like right here, these little that white line there and that white line there. That is that gash. There it is on January the 1st. There it is on December 22nd. There it is again on the 26th. You see that? There's the gash right there. And that's a lens flare. This is some type of a projection. I don't know if it's just it's not a lens flare like that, but it is a projection of something going on over here. But I don't really want to explain what that is because I might not tell you the truth. But I know that's the gash of the dragon right there. And here it is I think it's on the Cactus government camera. There's that gash that I've just been showing you, that gash right there. And there's the date, January 29th, 2020. There's the gash. That gash. That gash. That gash. March 28th, 2020, where I captured that red thing behind the clouds again, and it was casting, like the sun simulator was casting that yellow hue, artificial light reflecting off of it. So here is from Google Sky, June 2015, of the dragon orb with its wings. And here is where I captured it. There's the dragon orb, much closer than the previous picture. This one's only like a year or two ago. And there's the wings, and they're trying to hide it with all this stuff and starshade technology there. So when you see all that chemical trail and manufactured cloud junk get up in the sky and it actually casts a shadow of their starshade technology, that's when you need to start looking for an orb going across the sky. It's real hard to see, and you can't see it, but like maybe once a month or once every other month or something like that, and we don't even have that much time left. But see, that's it. Now, I want to show you a video. The video of that, right here it is. This is above Petco in a grocery store. Now what you're looking for is, right here's the dragon. The dragon's right there, and right here's its wings. But, you see this dark spot right here? That is the government. They blacked the wings of the dragon out. Right there, and they did it on the other side too. I'll show you here in a minute, but right there, that little dark spot in the middle is the crater, that huge crater on it, and here's the edge of the dragon. And like I said, this is a year or two ago, so it was further away in here than what I'll show you here in a minute. But I got a video of it. So there's the other side. See how they were doing both sides? They got this blacked out. They got the other side blacked out where the wings are. They don't want you to see those wings on it. And then they've got the orb hidden pretty well too. It's right there. But anyway, there's the dragon. Then I go up and show you the starshade and all the chemical trails. And then I come back down. And there's the dragon with its wings being hidden by that black chemical trail stuff that they've got up there. That's about the best you're going to see it, is that right there. That's how they hide it. But if you know what you're looking for, you can see it. And there's the starshade technology. They'll tell you all about starshade, but they'll say it's for exoplanets only. I don't think it's for exoplanets only, because there's the proof it's not for exoplanets only. There's starshade in our sky. And I lowered the brightness a little bit so that you could see it better. But look at all the colors in that. Like, it's usually not that pronounced, but you can see that if you'll just, it's up there at least one or two times a week at some point in the day. You'll see that. Here's another good example of like the colors. Like this is unedited right here. Like this is a lens flare over here. The blue dot and the little red around that's a lens flare. That's just the camera. But look at all this green and yellow and red and just all this orange and stuff. That lets you know that's artificial clouds and chemical trails up there with an artificial sun shining on it and making these weird colors. And you can also look for this in the sky. See that straight edge goes right down through here, and then it goes straight down through that. That is not natural in the sky. So what that means is they've got a black box cloaking right there. And I'll show you that cloaking here in just a little bit. But let's look at some pictures of the dragon. Okay, this is just from, I think this is from last week. Here's the dragon. So that circle right there that I'm making, that is the dragon. Here's the wings coming off of it, up through here, and then up this way, and up this way. You see how they're trying to cover it? But there's the dragon right there, with the wings coming that way and the wings going that way. Now, like I said, this is only from like a week ago. I'll jump around with the dates of like what I'm showing you here, but this is what you're looking for, what I've got highlighted. So like this right here, this little edge you can see, that's this nostril. That's the dragon's nostril out from behind all this stuff they're hiding it with up here. And if you were sitting here with me, I don't know if you can see it clearly. I don't know how clearly YouTube will allow this to be, but there's an edge of a circle right through here. That should not happen naturally in the sky. There are no perfect circles in the sky, you know, like this. And here's the dragon again. So it's right there, and here's the wings coming off of it, right here. Here it is again. This is like the very back end of the orb right here that I captured. And this is where they got those black coverings over of chemtrails over top of the wings there and up that way. Here's another one. There's where to look for the orb and the wing. So there, I kind of messed with this photo to try to help you see it better, and it might have made it even worse. But there's the circle, there's the wing coming off this way, and a wing coming off that way. All right, here is the dragon orb and the dragon head together. Just like I showed you earlier, it's an orb and a dragon head. And it's very hard to see because all this chemical trail smearing and everything. But if you were here with me, I could point right here. There's just like a definite edge there to a circle. And then I can see just from looking so much, this, you know, is making like a nostril, a snout right there. Here is Starshade with the black box cloaking that they try to hide the dragon with, and then of course they try to hide it with Starshade and all the chemical trails too, and they do a pretty good job. You know, it's real hard to see with the naked eye. But you see that? You see that straight line going up through there, and then there's a straight line coming right across here. And then it goes down through here. That's part of their black box, you know, blacking out the sky there. And then you can see behind the chemical trails, Starshade technology there. So even though it's real hard to see the dragon's head there or the dragon orb there, I guarantee you it's in there somewhere. I can't even see it in this one because they've got it so well hidden in this image. All right, so here's that cloaking. So that's a lens flare. Don't even look at that. But this little dot, that little dot, and that little dot, that is 3 parts, and I guarantee there's one up here somewhere that I can't see, but that is pieces of equipment in the sky that my camera picked up. Now these 2 little dots right above it, if you notice, the equipment ends right there and then it goes over here somewhere, but it's not cloaking these 2 craters that got lit up right here by the simulator. There's something here, and there's a crater, and there's a crater. That's a lens flare. Those are craters getting lit up. And then there's what it looks like without the lines on it. Here was another day that I believe I captured the head of the dragon. It's just right there. Here's another day I believe I saw the orb casting its shadow on the back of the chemical trails, because I mean, if you, right there is a definite circular pattern right there, then I can see it continuing over here. And I've got the brightness lowered. That's why it's so dark here, and I've got the brightness lowered to try to help you see that better. But it's hard to see. Here's a guy named Dill Martin. He had posted on YouTube one time. He saw it above his house. This is a year or 2 ago. And I don't know if he kind of just highlighted the color to help you see it better. I know he didn't doctor it. I watched the video, and anyway, he saw what I'm trying to show you right here. Okay, here's another picture that I captured of the dragon months ago. So you can barely see the dragon right here, but you can definitely see where they're cloaking the wings of it, like I showed you earlier. How this black darker part right here. See that line? That ain't normal. So they're cloaking the wings there. That lets me know for sure that I'm seeing that circle there as the dragon. Here, I believe I captured the head of the dragon right here in the sky one day. I barely lowered the brightness to be able to see it a little bit better, and I barely increased the color just a tiny bit in order to see it better, but I could see it with my naked eye. It was kind of reddish up in this area of the sky right here. You can see that red up there, but that looks like the snout of the dragon, and I believe that's what it was that day. Now, sometimes I see other things that look like part of the dragon, like this right here looks like the tail of the dragon to me. And, you know, we go through the tail, or the earth goes through the tail of the dragon. So maybe that might be the tail. I don't know for 100% sure, but it sure looks like it. The dragon and the moon orbs going around it and everything are definitely eclipsing us, like once or twice a week or once every other week or something like that. But anyway, here is the sky with the brightness brought down 50%. And what I do is I take my iPhone, I've got an older model iPhone, but anyway, I only have it for pictures and music and everything. But what I'll do is I'll go to the setting in it of the brightness, and I will lower that to like a 50% level. And then this is what happens. Like, this was just like a normal day, and I lowered it, and this is what the sky should look like whenever you lower the brightness 50%. But look at this. This is also lowered 50%. So whenever I see it doing this, then I know for sure we are at least partially eclipsed. And then this is the brightness lowered 50% on starshade. Now here is brightness lowered 50% during at least a partial eclipse, if not a full one, during starshade. Look at the difference between that and that. Okay, here's some more examples. This is a non-edited picture right here. This is brightness brought down 50%. This is a non-edited picture, but look at the difference in the brightness. I mean, this is like same time of the day, same, you know, position in the sky, because look at my trees there. Same position in the sky, but look how bright that is and look how dark that is. And these two are unedited. But whenever I lower the brightness 50%, like when it's eclipsed, it looks like that. When I lower the brightness whenever it's not eclipsed, it just looks like that. It's still blue. Although you have all this crazy stuff going on up there around the simulator. There's another example of 50% lowered in each case. Here's an example of totally not edited at all. This was just like a normal day. Here, I think we were being fully eclipsed on this day. This was a couple years ago. I mean, look at the sky here compared to here, and look at the shape of the sun here, or sun simulator, whatever, compared to here. Look how much smaller and squeezed that looked, and look at the artificial light being squeezed out of that too compared to that. Another example of being lowered 50%. You know, this is a normal day, 50%, even though, like here, you can see that square black box cloaking right there. You can see that edge of that square cloaking right there. Plus, you can see an orb. That should not be there. And it's usually not there. In a lot of pictures I take, all this junk is not in the picture. It's just this, you know. So that lets me know that whenever I do see that there's something there. It's not just the camera making that up. Of course, these are lens flares here and here. But I mean, look at the difference. That's how you can tell if you ever look up and say, "Hey, man, it looks a lot darker today than usual." Take a picture, and but this requires you to take pictures when it's not dark too, and look at and you got to look at the difference between the two, and it's got to be close to the same time of the day and the same no clouds in the way like this and everything. Look at this one. This is brightness lowered 50%. We must have been totally eclipsed on this day. I noticed it was dark. I took a picture. I lowered the brightness 50%, and look how black it went. And look right there. You can see the edge of that black box right there. Okay, here is another picture where I think I captured the dragon right there, and the wing going off of it there, and a wing coming off of it here, back in 2020. And here is a picture of the moon. Here's the moon right here. That is a holographic image. So you can't, I don't ever see the dragon at night, but one thing I do see at night is they put a holographic image on the moon because the sun is dimmer now than it used to be, so therefore the light reflecting off the moon is dimmer now than it used to be, and so they have to help it. And I was fishing with a guy just a month ago, and he never stops fishing for anything. And we had fished up into like about an hour into the night, and I looked up at the moon, and it was like a half moon, and I saw this, and I told him, I said, I've been trying to tell him, about the planets and everything, and he can't see it. He said he just doesn't have perfect vision and everything. But anyway, I told him to look up at the moon that night while we were fishing. And I've fished with him a lot, and he never, ever once has stopped fishing. And he stopped fishing, laid his pole down, he said, "Oh my goodness, I see that." And he called his wife, told her to go outside and look at it too, and she said, "Oh my goodness, I see it too." And I've showed it to 3 or 4 other people in person too. But if you will just go stare at the moon, you'll see like this darker area, and then you'll see like this other area that doesn't match. And quite often this area that's like a holographic image is bigger than the actual moon is. So anyway, that's one thing you can look for at night, even though you can't see the dragon at night. It's on the side of the earth that the sun is. And I wanted to close with something somebody sent me from the day of the eclipse on August 21st, 2017, of the Great American Eclipse. This was from South Carolina. I met somebody in Pigeon Forge, and one of his friends sent me this video, and I just wanted to share it with you to show you that while we were eclipsed that day, there was a little planet or a moon right beside the sun. And so watch this. I'll go through here, and it's getting eclipsed, and there you go. So it's eclipsed right there, and you can already see right there's that little planet. That's not a lens flare, that's not a camera anomaly or anything. I'll show you here in a second. Right here, he zooms in on it. Look at that. So there is that's not the moon, because the moon is up here eclipsing the sun, and it's not like Mercury or Venus or anything, because they don't appear that big in the sky. That is like some distant orb from the dragon system. And watch the light from the sun illuminate the top of this planet. Watch this. See that? Look at the light going across that planet. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I just want to share all that with you. Thanks.